Welcome back to Hashtag That. I'm Ben Kane.
And I'm Gage Kilborn. From AJR to The Walking Dead, we're back with the latest entertainment news updates.
All that and more from Hamden to Hollywood. We are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
From Hamden to Hollywood,
we are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Just recently, an executive who was working on 3-Body Problem was sentenced to death for fatally poisoning the show's producer. Chu Yao was found guilty of poisoning Lin Chi. Lin died on Christmas Day 2020 after drinking a beverage that Chu spiked with poison. According to CBS, 4 other people became sick as a result of Chu's poisoned drinks. However, they were able to survive the murder attempts. It is believed that the Chu began poisoning his colleagues 3 months after Yozu brokered a deal with Netflix to interpret Liu Cixin's remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy. Chu's punishment was given to him on March 22nd, the day after the series made its debut on Netflix.
A former employee of Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, has filed a lawsuit against the artist accusing him of harassment, discrimination, and retaliation, amongst other allegations. The suit was filed by Trevor Phillips and also goes against his Yeezy company and his Los Angeles-based Christian private school, the Donda Academy. The suit was obtained by CNN and alleges that West treated the black staff considerably worse than the white employees and called the discrimination severe. Phillips was hired around November 2022 to work for West's Yeezy fashion brand, but eventually expanded his position to include working at the Donda Academy. Phillips seeking a jury trial and a minimum of $35,000 in damages.
Disney CEO Bob Iger just announced the new release dates for Toy Story 5, The Mandalorian, and Grogu, and pushing the release date back a year for the live-action Moana film. Disney first announced the release of the 5th Toy Story in February of last year as a way to return the franchise to its original glory, after the Buzz Lightyear spin-off received such bad reviews, with Toy Story 5 being added to the mix. It moved around the release dates a tad as a live-action Moana film that stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will be pushed back a year alongside Toy Story 5 to be released on July 10, 2026. The company believed that pushing back Moana is a good idea because it will give a bit of breathing room between Moana 2 and the live-action remake. Then traveling to a galaxy far, far away, following the hit Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, will now be hitting the big screen in a spin-off feature called The Mandalorian and Grogu. The show's creator, Jon Favreau, will be directing the film, and it will be the first time since 2019 that a Lucasfilm will be hitting the big screen.
Chance the Rapper and Kristen Corley announced their divorce on Wednesday, sharing a joint statement on their social media accounts. The statement said, quote, "After a period of separation, the two of us have arrived at the decision to part ways. We came to this decision amicably and with gratitude for the time we spent together. God has blessed us with 2 beautiful daughters who we will continue to raise together. We kindly ask for privacy and respect as we navigate this transition," end quote. Per social media posts from Chance, or Chancellor Bennett legally, he was 9 years old when his family attended an office party for the realty company his mother worked for. It was at the party that he saw Corley singing a Destiny's Child song and locked eyes with her. The couple were wed in 2019 and are the parents of 2 children.
This week's Quinnipiac's radio station hosted an event with Stefan Mocchio, a Grammy-winning songwriter. More on this event is Taylor DeLisi.
Hey, hashtag, I'm Taylor DeLisi, and today I'm at Stefan Mocchio's University Seminar Series. Stefan Mocchio co-wrote and produced Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball, and also collaborated with The Weeknd on his Grammy and Oscar-nominated song, Earned It. He has also worked with artists like Andrea Bocelli, Avril Lavigne, Dua Lipa, James Blunt, Seal, and more, securing 7 Billboard Hot 100 hits with over 5 billion streams. His solo album, Tales of Solace, has over 90 billion streams, and his follow-up, Lionheart, was nominated for the 2023 Juno Award for Instrumental Album of the Year.
I know we don't have a huge performing music community on campus. I know there are a lot of people that are changing that now. But I think in terms of people who go here and want to work in the music industry or entertainment, I mean, we had people who attended who were film majors, advertising majors, communications majors. So I think just hearing from someone in the industry you want to work in is always helpful. The fact that Stefan was willing to come here and sit and answer questions for almost 2 hours, I think it gives people a lot of hope in the people that are currently in the industry, that it's not so gate-kept.
From my mom. When I was 3 years old, she started taking me like all these classical concerts, and I started taking piano lessons as early as 3. My piano music is always underscoring life. Like, it could be a scene, it could just be taking the subway in New York City, for example. A lot of times when we are in like life moments, like traffic, we're always introspective and we're in our heads. So, and I draw on the human condition, people's like euphoria, their pain as well, and just sadness. We live in a very disconnected world now, more than ever, and I find that people are more confused, and they just need a sort of pied-à-terre and something to ground them, which is why, and what I'm trying to do with my own art. I think it's more important than ever to learn your craft. You know, in the day and age of social media and technology and phones, we've kind of retreat from actually the time that we spend in learning a guitar, a piano, and we're losing those long hours necessary to that. So I think the individual who deflects the norm, meaning stays on social media in the beginning and doesn't do that and spends more time learning, reading, practicing, is the individual who's going to win. And I mean, win's the wrong word, but that's the individual that's going to thrive.
Stefan, thank you so much for sharing your advice with us at Quinnipiac. You can listen to Stefan's solo work on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon. That's all the time I have this week. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. It's here. It's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. What? My. Oh.
Indie pop band AJR performed in Hartford this weekend. Here with more on the band and their performances is Lane Dubin.
Hey hashtag, it's Lane. Over the weekend, I went to go see the band AJR in concert at the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut. This band was absolutely incredible and blew my mind out of the water. There's so much to review and so much to recap for you, so let's get into it. Although the entire show had amazing visuals and extremely strong stage presence, there were some moments from the AJR concert that stood out to me. For one of their opening songs, Yes I'm a Mess, lead vocalist Jack was walking on a treadmill suspended in the air while singing and walking, and it led to such a visual appeal. It was definitely a sight that you could not take your eyes off of. Then for one of their biggest songs, Bang, they did live shadow puppets, which went so much harder than it needed to go. Probably my favorite performance of the night, not only from a visual standpoint, but from a beautiful song standpoint, had to be their song Karma, which was performed about halfway through their show, and it was just Jack Met free falling, as well as this is just a song that has a lot of build up and a lot of swells that just immerses you into their world and into the experience, which just made the song connect with me a lot deeper, seeing it in concert and live. And then of course, in typical AJR concert fashion, they had to break down how they produced one of their songs, and the song they chose on this tour was Way Less Sad. And lastly, something AJR is known for at their concerts is their over-the-top finales, and this one was no different. Again, the visuals were just breathtaking and a little bit scary towards the end with the giant face, but it all really played into the Maybe Man tour so much and the visuals throughout the entire time. It really was just such a good wrap-up for the entire show. As for the songs that I loved to sing along to, that had great production value, and that had amazing drops, especially when you were witnessing these huge drops after a ton of swells with an entire arena around you. It definitely had to be the songs Steve's Going to London, 100 Bad Days, Inertia, and The DJ is Crying for Help. Overall, this concert was absolutely stunning in so many ways, and I am still thinking about the performances to this day. If I can say anything, I definitely recommend that you guys get out to an AJR concert sometime in your lifetime. But that's all from me, and now sending it back to the desk.
Now here with hashtag what in the world is Dylan Summer? What do you have for us, Dylan?
I'm going to be going over... I'm going to be going over all the entertainment news around the globe this week, starting with the divorce of Sacha Baron Cohen and Isla Fisher. The British actor and Australian actress announced last Friday that the two are ending their marriage after 13 years of being together. Both actors posted identical pictures on their Instagram stories on Friday afternoon. On the top of the picture of themselves wearing tennis gear, they wrote, quote, "After a long tennis match lasting over 20 years, we are finally putting our rackets down," end quote. They also added that they're jointly filed to end their marriage in 2023. The announcement of the divorce comes after Baron Cohen hit the headlines over a clash with former co-star Rebel Wilson. In her new memoir, Wilson said that the actor sexually harassed her on set. Baron Cohen denied all of Wilson's claims. Moving right along, Bad Education star Francesca Imelda Rivers and Spider-Man star Tom Holland were cast as Romeo and Juliet in a new West End stage show. Since the casting announcement, racist comments aimed at Imelda Rivers have been posted on social media sites for the production company Jamie Lloyd. On Friday, the company issued a statement condemning the barrage of deplorable racial abuse online directed towards a member of our company. They also said, quote, "This must stop. We are working with a remarkable group of artists and insist that they are free to create work without facing online harassment," end quote. Imelda Rivers will make her West End debut in the play, while Holland makes his return after starring in Billy Elliot the musical when he was young. The show will run at the Duke of York's Theatre in London from May 11th until August 3rd. And last but not least, the Traitors leapfrogged The Masked Singer in global format domination. The Traitors continued strong with 11 territory launches in 2023. The series originated in the Netherlands and puts either reality stars or non-celebrities in a murder mystery game. Hidden amongst the faithful are the Traitors, whose goal is to sabotage and eliminate the faithful and claim the prize as their own. According to analysis firm K7, the number of Traitors premieres around the world rose to 57%, with the likes of Spain on HBO Max and Germany and Finland launching new versions. It is the first time in 4 years that The Masked Singer has not been the most launched format in the world. K7 added that the Traitors look set to further consolidate its rapid ascent up the global format charts, with 9 launches coming in 2024, which will bring its total to 30. That's it for this week's hashtag What in the World. Back to the host at the desk.
Thanks, Dylan. The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live just finished, and here with his thoughts on its impact on the franchise is Michael Katz-Flynn.
Hey hashtag, it's Michael. After waiting more than 5 years, Walking Dead fans finally got to see Rick Grimes back in action, along with the return of Michonne. What was originally set to be a theatrical trilogy was turned into an epic 6-episode love story. The first episode recaps everything Rick has gone through the past 8 years since he was taken from his friends and family. Fans were worried that 6 episodes would not be enough time to explain everything Rick has been up to all this time and giving a proper closure. But this episode was able to give a clear recap of the past 8 years and was a perfect reintroduction to the character. Episode 2 focused on Michonne's quest to find Rick before the two finally reunited and their journeys migrate into one story. With how much the CRM broke Rick, he is hesitant to return to home after all the failed attempts and tries to make Michonne leave without him, which leads to a big plot point of him and Michonne trying to recreate the love that they once had. Some argue that this is very out of character for Rick, as he's always able to find a way through tough situations no matter how bleak. However, in season 7 of the main show, during the Savior arc, we saw that Rick is indeed capable of being broken, and if it wasn't for the people around him to give him the nudge, he never would have gone back in the game. The CRM is also a threat unlike any other we have seen in this franchise, so it isn't as out of character for Rick as one may think for him to give in to them and doesn't truly fight back until he has the support of the person he loves most. We also get the return of Jadis in full villain mode and learn her true intentions of why she took Rick away after the explosion. We also get closure to her and Father Gabriel's relationship that was left up in the air after her departure in season 9 that brought things full circle between the two. The biggest complaint people have with the series is its rushed finale. It took Rick nearly a decade to get into a position where he can be in a room alone with the CRM's leader, General Beale, only for him to kill him with a sword while armed with a gun. Michonne was also able to go undercover to find out the ultimate plan of the CRM without any issue, which seems hard to believe given how tight their security is. Then in the end, they defeat the CRM by blowing up the entire army when they're conveniently all in one spot. For how long we've been waiting for the CRM reveal and all the build-up of how dangerous they truly are, this felt like kind of a cop-out, and there was a lot of potential to have a whole season 2 dedicated to taking down the CRM while also being an overlooming threat in the other spin-off. There is a heartfelt moment at the end where Rick gets to reunite with his daughter Judith and finally meets his son RJ, but we did not get to see the big reunions people have been eagerly waiting for, such as Carol, Maggie, Morgan, his brother from another mother, Daryl, and most notably Negan. With Rick being unaware of Negan's redemption arc after being his biggest enemy on the main show, fans are eager to see how Rick will react and what would go down between the two. It's unclear what the future holds for Rick and Michonne, and it's looking more than likely that The Ones Who Live was a one-and-done series. Dead City and Daryl Dixon are both set to get multiple seasons, so there is hope for there to be some crossover. However, Dead City's alleged placement on the timeline would be years after Rick and Michonne's return, and when Daryl was on a call with Carol and Daryl Dixon, she's cut off, but we hear her say it came back, seemingly confirming that her and Rick have reunited, making it more and more apparent that there is no clear plan for the Walking Dead universe. Despite how rushed the finale was, The Ones Who Live was a solid series that answered most of our questions and gave a satisfying closure to the character who started it all, Rick Grimes. While we hope to see him reunite with his other friends, it was very rewarding to see Rick finally be at peace. That's all I have for you today. We'll be back after these commercials.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spot me on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Welcome back. Now, Ben and I, we're wearing our festive Hawaiian shirts today, going from East to West Coast. So we got some news from the East Coast here today of East Coast Entertainment. It is Emily Sweeney for New York Minute.
Yes, thanks, guys. I'm in the New York state of mind right now, and so is the Universal Music Group, who is currently facing a lawsuit in the New York federal court. The suit is over an allegedly unauthorized sample in hip-hop soul singer Mary J. Blige's 1992 hit song Real Love. New York-based Tough City Records told the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York that Real Love uses part of the Honey Dippers' often sampled 1972 funk song Impeach the President that it did not clear. They also were requesting an unspecified amount of monetary damages from Universal Music's publishing arm. Tough City Records have previously sued over samples allegedly misused by other high-profile musicians, including the Beastie Boys, Jay-Z, Kanye West, and Frank Ocean. The lawsuits against the Beastie Boys and Jay-Z were later dismissed. West Label and Tough City settled the dispute, and Tough City dismissed its suit against Ocean's label. Tough City told the court on Thursday that Universal Music Publishing has, quote, repeatedly refused to engage plaintiff in substantive negotiations, end quote, over the sample. It was also said that the sample was, quote, difficult to reconcile, end quote. This was due to the fact that UMG Recordings, a different UMG unit, had agreed to a separate license for the Real Love sample in the past. This sort of lawsuit happens pretty frequently, and in this case, it is decades after the song is released. Now, guys, I'm curious, how do you guys on desk feel about these issues coming up so much later and being taken to court almost 20 years after it was released?
Yeah, Emily, like you said, like 1992 to 2024, my math serves me correct. That's 32 years later where this is all starting to come up under the rug. And I think that because of that, this should not be brought up into court at all. I mean, like even by the U.S. copyright law infringement cases, it must be filed within 3 years for a song to be considered for a copyright.
See, now I also pulled up the U.S. Copyright Act, and I learned that if it's produced, you have to find it within 3 years. So 3 years of your finding. So if they just found it, then it totally is okay under these new copyright acts. But you look at the amount of money that a case like this could bring up. You look at someone like Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams, who were sued in 2013 over their song Blurred Lines by Marvin Gaye's family. The Marvin Gaye estate made over $7.5 million from that lawsuit. So when you're talking about generational wealth, I think it obviously was in the statute of limitations, and it's generational wealth, like we mentioned before. So I think it makes sense that you have to bring it up now and you have to do it. But Emily, I'm very curious as to what you think about this.
Yeah, I mean, accountability is a huge thing in any job, any business, any professional setting at all. And I think making everyone be accountable, even if it is 32 years later, is something that is very important. So I do think that it should still come up, even if it's just being found out now. I think it should still come up, and it should be taken to court because accountability is a huge factor, in my opinion. But guys, for my next story, I'm going to tee up to take a drive at the ball as Happy Gilmore 2 is allegedly in the works, according to Drew Barrymore. Barrymore stated in her New York filming of The Drew Barrymore Show on Friday that Adam Sandler is working on a screenplay for Happy Gilmore 2. Barrymore said, quote, "I want it, I need it," end quote, when discussing the sequel in a clip released by the show. Barrymore also said in the middle of her taping, quote, "This just in, I have breaking news. I'll just say this, from my source, that it is in process. There is a process, and that this is in process," end quote. Barrymore also noted that Christopher McDonald, who co-starred in the 1996 golf comedy, recently said that Sandler has shown him a first draft of Happy Gilmore's sequel script. Guys, personally, I loved Happy Gilmore, but I keep imagining what I'd want the sequel to look like and can't quite figure that out. What else is left to say? So do you guys think that making a Happy Gilmore 2 is worth it? And what is left that you guys want to see from that story? Because I'm just unsure.
So, you know, I'm a big Adam Sandler fan, but I went through IMDb. I looked at his last 11 movies that he's written. 3 of them, really bad rankings. Jack and Jill, Grown Ups 2, and Hubie Halloween. He hasn't had the best track record writing movies, and such a storied movie like Happy Gilmore, I don't really want to see it touched any more than it already is.
Now, Ben, I do understand that, but you got to think of one thing. It's the redemption tour. It's his redemption. He's been fantastic making films early on, like back in the late 90s. You talk about Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, and the list goes on and on from his peak in the 90s. I think this is a redemption, and you mentioned he hasn't done a sequel since Grown Ups 2 back in 2013, 2014, and I think this is going to be what they need. I mean, Shooter McGavin, the big time nemesis in that film, his name is still big and around today. Like, he has his own Twitter account, Ben. So he's still pretty big today. So I think the redemption tour is on for Happy Gilmore 2. But I'm curious to think what your thoughts are on this, Emily.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Adam Sandler fan, so of course I'd look forward to any movie he's a part of and any movie that's coming out that has his name in it. But I'm not really sure what that storyline is going to be because I don't know what's left. It's not like things are left to be cleaned up, as that movie had a pretty distinctive ending. So I'll be interested to see what it is, but overall, I am just so excited to see Adam Sandler in another movie, especially when it's Happy Gilmore 2, something that I loved, Happy Gilmore, as when I was a kid. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have left for this week's New York Minute. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
Now, not only are we back on #that, but Alex Kendall is back with her thoughts on Ranger Reject. What do you have for us, Alex?
What's up, hashtag? It's Alex, and yes, I am once again bringing in yet another anime package straight off the press, and this may be my nerdiest take yet. Today we're going to be talking about a personal favorite of mine, which I've been tracking for a few months now, Ranger Reject, or Go-Go Loser Ranger. Ranger Reject is a manga series which was released on February 3rd, 2021 in Kodansha's weekly shonen magazine and has since released 13 volumes. The manga, created by Negi Haruba, has printed over 20 million copies and was nominated in 2021 for Kadokawa's Next Manga Award in the Best Printed Manga category. The creator himself isn't new to this kind of success, with prior works of his such as Quintessential Quintuplets, a charming romantic comedy series, being nominated for awards as well. But without further ado, what is Ranger Reject? Well, for any of you that grew up on Power Rangers, it is a spin on that exact premise, but with a twist. Within this alternate universe, humanity has been terrorized by monsters for 13 years, only to be kept at bay by humanity's greatest protectors, the Dragon Keepers. Very familiar premise, right? Well, you're wrong, because the Dragon Keepers actually defeated the invaders within just a year and forces them to send out monsters to fight with them weekly for sport. What makes this series so unique is the dark twist that it takes by putting the perspective on the soldiers who are typically used as cannon fodder. The story follows D, a monster who is tired of living under the thumb of the Dragon Keepers and has set out to infiltrate the Ranger force. This story brings into question who are the true heroes and who are the true villains. The anime was announced in December 2022 and is set to be produced by Yostar Pictures, who worked on Azure Lane, and is directed by Keiichi Sato, who worked on Tiger and Bunny, as well as Inuyashiki. For me, as someone who grew up watching every single type of Power Ranger combo, and I'm talking about Dino Rangers, Ninja Rangers, the works, it is so refreshing to see a new take on such a classic series that was originally based on a classic Japanese series, the Super Sentai series. And it seems like I'm not the only one enjoying this fresh take, as the series currently sits at a 9.2 out of 10 stars on IMDb after the first episode's release. The anime premiered on April 7th and is available for streaming on Disney+. As of right now, the first of 12 episodes is out, with new episodes dropping every Sunday. But that's it from me. I'm Alex. Back to you guys at the desk.
Now, as a graduate student, I've had the privilege to be a part of the entertainment department for 4 years, also serving as a music beat reporter, and I would just like to thank everyone a part of this department, as well as #that, for not only allowing me and giving me a space to talk about my passions in entertainment, but wear fun costumes along the way. Dressing as Spotify Wrapped was probably one of the highlights of my journalism career, as well as a ghost when I made a Frank Ocean package, because he was a ghost. But Gage, what has been your favorite entertainment department moment?
Yeah, so my history with entertainment is not as deep as yours is, but my big one has to be when you decided to quiz me on Spotify pop culture back in the 2021-22 season, and you saw how well my knowledge was at the time of pop culture and pop music as well.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have this week on #that.
Be sure to follow us on our social media accounts and stay up to date.
I'm Ben Kane.
And I'm Gage Kilborn, from producers, talent, and everyone working hard behind the scenes. Thank you for tuning in to #that. We will see you again next week.